What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I am Alex, and I am joined by, at least right now, one very special guest, but there will be another one coming as well. But we are here to talk about the Xbox June Showcase, do our predictions. We did it last week with Summer Game Fest. Actually turned out extremely well, so I thought, let's go bigger and better, because Summer Game Fest, I think it will be pretty big, but the Xbox show, I think, has proven time and time again that it's probably going to be bigger. And, you got the Game Pass potential. You have the Xbox specific games. Lots to talk about. I got Whikked here with me. Great guy, great creator. We've done videos on Back to the Past, and we will continue to, over the next, we got one, I think, stirring up in the pot for June. So Whikked, thank you so much, buddy, for being here.
Yes, of course, man. I'm super excited. Live streams are, I think, so much fun, to be honest, especially when you get some buddies involved. So
it's your face debut on my stuff, but you've
Yep.
already, this is not breaking. I have broken face reveals before with people.
Well,
But
I think I remember when it was one of your Spider-Man 2 ones, the Evan guy. I had never seen his face before.
a couple of people have done like for the very first time. But so you're pretty big into Xbox. We've prepared a little bit, but I mean, we're just gonna kind of run through the gauntlet. I know you were looking, I pulled it up too, of last year. So last year's show had 29 games, and I mean, these are no small games. You had the Gears of Wars of the world, mixtape. I guess if you want to counter it with something a little bit smaller, we saw Expedition 33, of course. And actually, you know what? On this list, I'm looking right now. They have like Dragon Age. Do they have like Life is Strange was also in? Oh yeah, Life is Strange is on that list. Okay, so I mean, not every game is going to be 1000% directed towards Xbox, but I would say about 90% of games either are Game Pass games or are like their own exclusives, right? You think that'd be fair to say?
Yeah, I think so. I think that especially with, obviously we'll get into it too more later, but just kind of the way they've shaped the last year and just like rumors around a lot of other stuff, I think it'll be some exclusives, but I kind of lean more towards they're just going, everything's an Xbox again.
Yeah. And by the way, I don't think I specifically said it, but if you guys want to follow Whikked, he does a ton of different stuff on his channel. Links in the description. Just click the @ sign; it'll take you right to him. Like I said, he's been on Back to the Past before with me, and he does a great job. I think we flow rather well together. So, all right, well, we'll take comments. We'll read through what everybody has to say, but I mean, just kind of like off the cuff, what are your, I guess, go-to predictions? Like what, like guarantees? You got any like crazy ones? How do you want to start this?
Okay, so I don't know how much you know about the rumors behind the next Xbox system in terms of like the successor being in 2027. I don't think we're seeing that. I did have the handheld on my list until,
Now.
no more. But I think that, so there's this rumor about Steam gonna be integrating itself into Xbox. I don't know if we'll see anything for it, but I do think that's kind of like my wild card of it could be there because it's been leaked so much at this point. But I think my biggest hope is a release date for mixtape, because we still don't know when it's coming out. And that was besides, I think Doom was my most anticipated one from last year's kind of announcements. And I think it just is my style of game in terms of things I want to play while I'm unwinding from work or something.
I can respect that. I love mixtape, was freaking awesome last year. Smashing Pumpkins being in it won over for me, but that's a good one. We saw a couple comments of mixtape. A mixtape looked pretty amazing. That's a good one. And I think, to kind of double dip and go back to it and actually give a date for it. I saw Clockwork Revolution, and I was considering like typing Clockwork Revolution into the description even of this video, because that's a game that, very BioShock Infinite like, and it looks awesome, but I believe that is one that skipped last year. I think that was 2 years ago we saw it, but it wasn't last year. So that's a good one that I feel like, right, should reappear. You got like the Fables. Fable, I think, has been shown 3 years in a row. Pretty sure. 3 years.
Yeah.
So that's going to be, well, at least I think that's going to be there. State of Decay came back last year. Well, I think maybe was State of Decay last 2? I know it was for sure last year. I feel like it missed a couple.
Yeah, I know that for State of Decay, they had like the one trailer, I think 2 or 3 years ago, and then nothing. And then I think last year it might have been.
I think originally it was announced back in 2020. Like that was the very first. That was during the COVID stuff. So I remember that. But State of Decay, I feel like, needs the year attached to it. What are your thoughts on Halo? I just saw
Okay.
a thing today about, the rumor of something like in October, which may take. So
Mhm.
I'll be honest, I did not expect Halo here like it. I never did,
Yeah.
even before that rumor.
Yeah, so for me, I actually was gonna ask Sway that. So,
Oh yeah,
if
yeah,
we get him, that would be great because he's the big Halo guy that
yeah,
I know. But I actually that's kind of a hidden card for me. Like I could totally see them doing something for Halo. I haven't really seen any rumors. I didn't see the thing today, so I'll look at that. But
yeah,
I think for me personally, especially with Bungie's kind of unravelment around Marathon, I think it would be really good for 343 and for Xbox to kind of show something Halo,
yeah,
but I don't know what it would be after Halo Infinite.
yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, Halo's in a interesting spot. And it's also not, because I want to say, well, they got to put the focus on like this game or that game. The thing that's cool about their showcases is that's not really, the case. Like you'll have
Yeah.
the one last thing, like Gears of War, I guess was that technically last year. But I mean, like saying, oh, well, they got to focus on this game or that game. Like you really could drop just a random Halo teaser. Again, it could be we've seen it with Fable and other games, State of Decay. You could just show it and then it releases like 3-4 years down the line. I think it's probably closer than that. But just to shout a couple of comments, a Banjo-Kazooie one is interesting. Every year, and it's only
I'm
been
all
1 year,
for
okay, but every year gets closer to the possibility, of course, for Toys for Bob. If that is Spyro, if they are working with Xbox, it's only been 1 year, but it's like a year closer, right? I don't think it's
that.
going to happen this year, though.
Give me a new Skylanders game. I need more collectibles. I need it. I need a Toys for Bob. Give me Skylanders remake or something. I need it.
I think Spyro deserves it first, but
Yeah, yeah,
Spyro's in
yeah,
a tough spot.
yeah.
Probably gonna see Gears of War E-Day, Perfect Dark, Fable, Clockwork Revolution, State of Decay 3, and God knows what else. And I mean, a lot of those are quite literally. I'm looking back at the list here. Quite literally, what we got, last
Yeah.
year. Now, last year, didn't they? They paired it with Call of Duty, right? That was the big,
Yeah,
like behind us here, like above us, Xbox,
yeah,
and then Outer Worlds, right? So that's their
yeah,
big combo, which is interesting. But last year I'm pretty sure was Call of Duty.
yeah.
So there's supposed to be a COD that comes out this year, right?
Yeah, it's a from the rumor mill again, since I
Yeah.
just can't leave Call of Duty in my past. From the last thing I remember, this next one is supposed to be another Black Ops game, and it's supposed to be a direct sequel to Black Ops 2. So they're doing just because of the year and everything, but
Yeah.
I haven't heard too much. I know that they're going through the ringer with this current one more
Yeah.
than normal.
Pretty
Um,
interesting that's like,
so-
I mean, I know, well, what's tough is like Outer Worlds comes out this fall, then like
mhm.
COD would come out this fall. So maybe they just don't
Yeah.
want to kind of pair like the big thing of the show, both of those together. Um, okay, so we had that. I have a couple things like in my head that I want to ask you, but I want to,
Uh,
there's too many. The thing is, there's too many games that they can honestly show.
I know.
Oh, we just talked about
I
Spyro
wonder
4. I can
too
read your
if this is
mind.
gonna be
Um, oh, well, we could start actually with Fable here. So, do you think too early for a date? I mean, it got pushed to like early 26. I mean, it by a year from now, it could already be out.
yeah.
Do you think they would
Yeah,
do a
I
date
think
for it?
honestly, I was kind of thinking that they might save that for Summer Games Fest just because I feel like it would be such a big reveal for them.
Yeah,
But I now that you say it, I can definitely see them being like, oh, the last part of this showcase before we go into like the major breakaway for Outer Worlds is
yeah,
going to be a release date. I'm not going to trust any release date though for that game until it's physically on Game Pass
yeah.
because I keep like I'm trying to plan to replay Fable because I literally
Me too.
I
Me too.
think
I
I've
got all three
touched
of them ready to rock when we
yeah
get closer. Yeah,
yeah, and I just want to know, and I don't
yeah,
want to like start it and then have them push it back again. But
yeah. Yeah, Fable's I guess, Summer Game Fest does kind of have to come up because it's like we know Xbox is going to be there, right? And then having their show be 2 days after. It's like it's so
yeah,
I kind of want to think like Gears of War the remaster, I feel like is an easy one, right? Like that has
yeah,
to appear, but it doesn't have to appear like in a big way because it is a big deal but not the biggest deal. Um So like, I don't know what you give to Jeff. You know what I mean? To
Yeah.
do, it wouldn't be Outer Worlds. Maybe I mean, Fable is like not that bad of an idea to
So
give.
I wanted to ask you too on that same note. I know we just talked about Doom. Do you think that we are too close to the reveal or for the launch of Dark Ages to get DLC news?
Ooh, yeah,
Because I don't know, because I could definitely see them, because of, obviously I think the game did okay. I don't think it did like insanely well,
yeah,
because of like Expedition 33 and the price and just how the game is.
yeah,
I could see them being like, okay, I think we need to just get the DLC out the door,
yeah,
or at least showing it, and
yeah.
maybe not like day
I,
and dating it, but
I would lean Xbox event for that one. I
Mhm,
feel like maybe they would
mhm,
give it to the Xbox event. I really struggle to think of, because like Summer Game Fest, not like they've done Dragon Age before. So I was gonna say not
mhm,
really known for games that are like 3, 4, 5 years out, right? Because then Fable
mhm,
makes sense. Perfect Dark makes sense, and State of Decay. I think those
yeah,
three. But you
yeah,
wouldn't want to give them. You're probably not giving Jeff like Gears of War E-Day, even though that
mm-mm,
actually fits because that game probably is coming out next year too. Um, but you can't go like too far, right? At least I
no,
imagine like Halo and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Do we know, is E-Day a exclusive? Have they
Oh
said?
God. Well, that was something that was in my head of I saw somebody asked about like Clockwork Revolution. Oh yeah, no, about
Mhm.
Clockwork coming to PS5. I was gonna ask
Yeah.
you in terms of prediction. So like how much? So I forget. Last year was it's funny because like a lot has happened
Mhm.
in 1 year, right? Like
For
really,
them
the
too, like
strategy has changed radically in probably like a year and a half. Maybe you want to stretch it a little, but like going into this year, we got a special guest here. Sway, what's going on?
Hey, Sway,
How you doing?
crashing the party. I love it. I love
Crashing it,
it.
crashing it.
We were
Perfect
just
timing.
talking about Xbox. Well, actually, the question is, okay, how much do you think PlayStation is going to play a part in the Xbox event? And I guess specifically, I mean, like how non-shy do you guys think they'll be with flashing like coming to PS5? Because we were talking, Gears of War, E-Day, like is that one? State of Decay, Perfect Dark, all these games. So that's my question to you. How often do you think we see PS5, the logo, like pop up on their things?
I feel like if I am, this would be me, but as far I'm gonna say like what I think is gonna come out, I
It's
think
a
that
good
they're
question
going to.
for you, honestly.
I think honestly they are going to go a very generic route where they're going to just like announce that these things are coming, and below like you read it for yourself, like oh, come to PlayStation, come to Switch, or come to PC. Like you'll just see it there. But I do think that you're going to see that PlayStation logo if you're looking quite a bit, because their whole motto now is kind of where I've been thinking that they're going to go, which is everything is an Xbox to them. And the reason why is because unfortunately, as we get away from like this whole, unfortunately, physical era or console era,
Yep.
if you think about it, like in the aspect of Game Pass is already an established thing. It's more established than the PlayStation Plus subscription, and Microsoft already owns the OS that 90% of like most people use for gaming on PC. So they're already established on that next front anyway. So their mind is literally just they can become a publisher because they already have the PC hardware set. So I don't think that they care. They could say it, but I think that they'll just show it versus say like, hey, coming to PlayStation, they'll
Yeah.
just have it at the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah. The reason that I like want to upvote that as much as possible is because if you guys remember, I want to say it was last year, the PlayStation showcase or whatever it was, they had all of these different games, and then Xbox, right as the event ended, they posted like that
Yeah.
really snarky, they're also coming to Xbox. And I think that if they don't show the PlayStation logo, I don't know if Sony is in tune enough to do the same thing, but
Yeah.
people would like immediately. So I think that it would be the smartest decision, just like Sway said, to just put it right at the bottom.
Yeah. What normally happens too is PlayStation will upload the trailer too.
Yes.
And then of course PlayStation does that fun thing where PlayStation will eliminate the other logos
Yeah.
at the end of their trailer, which I actually that that kind of console warrior ship that's like still going on, honestly, is a little fun to me still. That like they're still trying to play that game. Sway, we said in the beginning, we were just kind of doing like casual opening statements. Like, you got any guarantees you think at the show? You got any like super wild cards? We said mixtape release date was one of our like most anticipated, would be a cool one that they showed last year. We got any like we talked about Halo. We wanted to bring you in on Halo. You got any like crazy ones?
With Halo, it's so insane because they have the remakes, and then you never know if they said they're making multiple projects. So I mean, I get like my wild card would be probably they're gonna triple down on Halo and just like, okay, here's the remakes that's in work, and then here's also the new one. And then we're hearing like that they're doing something with 5 as well, I guess. So we could see that as well, possibly. Like maybe it's coming to a different platform as well, but I definitely expect to see them announce it's going multi-platform. I think Gears, since I think the new one is gonna go multi-platform as well.
Oh boy.
Maybe a new Fallout, maybe.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's my that's one of my like I'm hopeful for Mr. Matty plays tick on there, because we know how much he's been vying for. I think the Fallout 3 remake, especially after Oblivion, I could definitely see them at least showing it, because we know it's in the works, we know it's there, it's behind the closed doors. Maybe they do the same thing with Oblivion. I'm not saying at this showcase, but maybe down the line where they're like, oh, here's the game, it's also available now, because it obviously worked so well.
Yeah. It'd be kind of rough actually to see Fallout be completely passed, and then like between now and next year you get another season of the show with still no talk, or still no showing of Fallout. That'd be pretty rough. That'd be pretty rough. We've had a couple people talk about Persona 4, of course, which is a good one. So far it's been just kind of Xbox. I think the fun part beyond just all their own games is that there's a lot of games that will kind of funnel through. I mentioned the Wicked Hollow Knight before the stream started. Like, those get me, like Persona 4 at this point is kind of like a guarantee, that's, everybody said it. It's the worst kept secret besides Oblivion at the time. I think I mean, specifically with Hollow Knight, I don't know how much you guys are into that game, but do you think now is the time, or do you think we still have to wait?
I couldn't see why now wouldn't be the time,
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's the perfect time. It's been a good chunk of time since the last one. So
yeah, especially with the Switch 2 coming out next week, and they had like that little snippet of
sizzle thing.
Like Silk Song is still alive, even though a lot of people were just like Wolf Among Us 2 type of idea with that. So I think now's the time for sure.
Very good. Let's see. Sway, is there any? I'll look for comments. Is there any other predictions you want to shout out before we get more specific?
Fable.
Okay, we talked a little bit about. You think release date, or
I'm thinking release date. I for how long we've seen things here and there about it, and since it's been announced, like we're teetering on like that Wonder Woman era where it's like, okay, we've known about this too long. You need to give us way more information than we have now. And that's kind of how I'm feeling with Fable. I'm like, we need a release date. We need like somewhat of, not necessarily a deep dive yet, but like more than what we've seen.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going with.
Even the last gameplay sizzle reel thing was like 2 seconds here, 2 seconds. Like, we gotta see more of like an uncut and that's. I hope they do like how State of Play does like Borderlands. Like, I need that with Fable. Give me like 15 minutes and don't cut. I want to see Fable because I don't know. I like it's a game I'm very excited for, but the like super confident. I don't have a lot of confidence.
No.
Like I gotta be shown it, first.
Yeah, I was too burned by Cyberpunk for that. I gotta see something.
Yeah. Cloud Roth said, I was thinking Halo would show up as a launch title for next gen. Oh, that's an interest. And see if that would be 2 years away. You could do it. So you could do a teaser and you just could not say what it's on. You don't even do like a platform at that point.
No.
I think a couple people have asked about Blade. You guys have any thoughts?
I don't know if Blade would be still more. I mean, like console exclusive at this point with
Yeah,
Xbox.
there's no way.
There's no way. There's too much money left on the table at that point.
Yeah.
I think it's too. Well, I don't know if it's too early, but like I would hope we see something from it.
Yeah, I was thinking that might be now a little more Summer Games Fest, just because of their whole push to everything being an Xbox. But I mean, they've been cooking for a while. Like they said they wanted to have them cook. So I think we need to see something.
But I'm pretty like when they announced it, right, which was what, a year and a half ago, they said what they started within the last like 6 months. So you're only looking at like 2 years in. Games probably take 5. So, you know, like we're within we've done 2 years. So like another teaser, but then you're not probably getting it till 27, 28. So maybe like, you know, same kind of thing as like a Halo thing. We started to do this, but you guys have any other third party? So like Mixtape technically I think is third party, right? It's on Game Pass, but third party. You got any like Hollow Knight we talked about? Do you have any other third party stuff you think? See, Battlefield's interesting to me because EA is not on Summer Game Fest list, but that's only round 1. Maybe they appear. We know they're gonna show Battlefield this summer. So Gamescom is this summer, so that's possible. PlayStation maybe even, but I don't know if Xbox would take the time to do like a 7, 8, 9 minute Battlefield breakdown. So I feel like that kind of gets thrown out. But you guys have any third party stuff?
I feel like because of all of the, and this could just be my naivety here speaking, but for all of the Xbox stuff going everywhere, I would like to see that kind of reciprocated in some way. So like maybe there's some other PlayStation titles that make its way over to the platform, or maybe we get thrown a curveball and we see a PlayStation game make it to Game Pass. I doubt it, but
well, I'll raise you. But what about Final Fantasy? I think that one, one actually, if they bring Square Enix up there and they say, okay, here's finally the date, you know,
I think it's
that's not really placed. You know what I mean? They don't need. I think hell would freeze over, you know, before PlayStation walks up and says, okay, Ragnarok is coming out on Amazon. But I specifically, Silent Hill 2 is a good one too. I just thought Silent Hill and Final Fantasy, I think you could see Bloober Team or Square Enix, you know, just being at
Final Fantasy going over to the Switch as well.
Yeah.
See, Final Fantasy might announce it even at Summer Game Fest, which is why I'm kind of iffy on it, because Square Enix is going and the Switch 2 is going to be present. So, but I think if you wanted to go big third party, exactly, you know, up that alley of like, okay, time to level the playing field, literally Final Fantasy, I think, is the game that you use to do it, you know. Even though, hot take, I really don't think it changes all that much. I don't know how many people are going to buy Final Fantasy on Xbox. I've always kind of held that controversial opinion, but it would be cool to see.
Their player base just hasn't been conditioned to say we have to play it here. That's why I'm like, I don't know how much of a difference that would make. I feel like their new announcements and their new is where they're going to really get us from.
Yeah. I remember, because I think I saw something about like the hope. Black Myth Wukong is still not on Xbox, right? Like maybe is that one maybe that could, because they said like they probably are coming over, right? And they said that like a year ago and then it hasn't happened yet. Those liars.
Do you guys think we get anything from Hideo Kojima in any way? I was
thinking about that, but it's too close to Death Stranding, right? I feel like it's too close. You're not going to do OD. He'd be kind of a baller to do. Like, okay, here's an OD teaser. But okay, here's the thing. If you didn't literally today, right? They announced that Jeff Keighley and Hideo are doing like that show. It's on the Sunday of the Xbox event. So, which is a nice little jab. If that had anything to do with PlayStation, would be a nice little jab they did there. But like there's no, you know what I mean? If they're doing a presentation down the block, you know, I don't think they'll do OD at their show. That'd be wild though. If the IO thing they show at Summer Game Fest is Mind's Eye, I at the very least hope they show off 007 at the Xbox showcase. That could be.
Forgot about that. Yeah.
Double dipping there. Well, see, like last year, I'm looking back. I mean, like Dragon Age the Veilguard was like the big, and that's what made me think maybe Battlefield, right? Because it's like, well, they could do just a trailer for the new, like just like a 2-3 minute trailer, and then you could show game, which is actually, didn't Dragon Age literally do that? They showed the trailer and then 2-3 days later, they did their own thing and they showed gameplay. You could do that with Battlefield, and that's non-Game Pass, right? So I guess I'm looking at like what wasn't Game Pass. Metal Gear Solid 3, right? That's not Game Pass, so they did that. Life is Strange, but really only like 3-4-ish games do they do that's not connected to Game Pass in some way, right? So like the 007 game, I just don't think is Game Pass. You could still try it. What else? You guys have any thoughts?
Game Pass has a lot of potential, because then we have the games that's already out that could possibly get expansions, or like, I doubt Clair Obscura has anything, but it was a large launch and it was Xbox published, right?
No, they like helped, or they founded. And it was on Game, and it was on Game Pass, and they have expressed like DLC as possible.
Yeah,
we talked before you came, Wicked, or me and Wicked talked before you came, Sway, about Doom. Like, is it too early to Doom to get the DLC for Doom? Came out a month ago. That could be something like a small little 2-minute thing,
Yeah, I think that's possible, because it's not coming. It wouldn't probably come out right now, so I would. You got to keep people hyped from it.
Yeah, I think Atomfall 2 either is supposed to get something, or they've announced something, or already had it, so they might just like show it off again.
Imagine if they show the next Lego game at the Xbox showcase. There's that WB Hope. I don't think WB. I don't know.
We're not feeling too good, Mr. Stark.
It's been rough. It's been really rough to like talk about WB at all. Sway has a Twitter. Sway is a very busy man, but his Twitter is linked in the description below if you guys want to follow him. Obviously, he'll be back no matter what for the annual Podcast Now Game of the Year Awards 2025, which I thought about earlier today, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if Fable gets delayed again. Yeah, and Fable's delayed till next year. Yeah, it really goes to what Wicked was saying, where it's like that's a game that I don't think you trust it until like a month, maybe even a couple of weeks. Well, Soul Aside delayed itself a month before.
Yes.
So, you don't want to.
Cyberpunk did it as well.
What did?
Cyberpunk did it as well. They dropped theirs, I think, before, like less than a month actually.
It was like 2 weeks, I think, or something like wild. And we should have listened, but
Final Fantasy 7 and 16 is due for Xbox. Skydance, that's an interesting one, right? Rise of Hydra. Like that's all, that kind of fits another kind of Fable like criteria, where comes out probably February, March. So you should show it this summer. It's not on the list for Summer Game Fest, so then you put it somewhere else potentially. But again, I think it's tough, because like I think you're just juggling with, you probably only have like 2 to 4 announcements at the Xbox show that's non-Game Pass. Like, really like 2 or 3 games. So if you do Rise of Hydra and you do 007, those are huge. Those are absolutely freaking massive. But then like that's probably it, right?
Probably.
Then you get updates on everything that you already know. I think there's the potential for like a couple sneak ones that you didn't expect to be on Game Pass, or you wouldn't think, but they actually, like Persona 4 remake, I think will be on Game Pass. I just had one in my head that I just literally let slip. Ninja Gaiden 4, of course, needs to be shown. Nobody's brought that up yet.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it's the fall, but that doesn't have a date, does it? So I'm pretty sure they'd have to show a date for that one.
Yeah, that was like the one thing from like their Year of the Ninja, I think, that didn't have date.
And that game looks amazing. Exclusives will become a thing of the past. I think Sway has pushed that more than either of us.
Yes, I don't, as much as like I love participating occasionally in a good console warfare, right? But my honest opinion is that anybody should be able to play anything. I think we're past that point in the industry, especially the state of everything, where there is any evidence that exclusives drives enough business to warrant them anymore. Yeah, I feel like the only place that works for is Nintendo at this point. So console exclusivity shouldn't be a thing. Everybody should be able to play it. It's going to be weird for me to look at people playing Halo on PlayStation or Gears on PlayStation, but I think that's the right move, 100%.
Yeah. It is strange seeing like I want Gears. I think it's rumored that the remaster of Gears is gonna be a physical, even like maybe like limited run or something on PlayStation. That would be. I need to
Yeah.
like just to have
Yeah.
that. Just how
Yeah.
weird that is to own.
Yeah.
I need it. You know.
Yeah,
And
I
honestly, even Hellblade, which I'm not too big of a fan of that game in general. The second one, I kind of would want that physically too. Elder Scrolls 6. So we did the Fallout thing. Like, there's no way you can get both, right? So then you kind of have to pick like which one you want.
Yeah.
Like Elder Scrolls makes more sense because of how long it's been, but then Fallout is more relevant. Well, that's tough too, though, and that's not really true because Oblivion. So like Elder Scrolls now is relevant, and then Fallout's relevant because of the show, and it's like which one is more to them.
I feel like Fallout only because the new season is coming, and that would just be a more trickle down effect if they can just match one for one.
Yeah,
I agree. I think that the Elder Scrolls is unfortunately taking a Metro Prime 4 approach.
Yes,
being shown, and then maybe it'll be like a launch, but works on Series X and whatever comes next game, like what Metro's doing.
Yeah, it's kind of shocking that we're even getting Prime 4, to be honest with you.
That's how I felt about Breath of the Wild, to be honest. It was supposed to come on the Wii U, and then
it
did, and then it came to the Switch, and then it was also on the Wii U, and it was just.
We're gonna have like a couple of the like Hollow Knight is one of those games too. That's gonna be kind of surreal when it actually is out.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't know if we have any Little Devil Inside fans here, but there's a game that I have no faith in. How far along is OD anyways? That's an interesting. I've already kind of given my thoughts on when Hideo was mentioning, looking ahead to the espionage game, but he casually forgot to mention OD. You guys have any thoughts about how far you think it's just maybe because I think it's because he's talking with PlayStation. He's talking about PlayStation like funded type things. Not going to bring up an Xbox game in OD, but I don't even think it is Xbox exclusive anymore. OD. I don't see how it can be.
No, I don't think anything is. Xbox seems very content on making all of their stuff easy to reach. At this point, I'm just waiting for them to somehow swindle their way for Game Pass to be on PlayStation. I don't see it, but that's the only thing I can see. And so I think it's further along, but now that Xbox isn't too firm on making exclusives anymore, I could see that easily something being further announced for it relatively sooner than later.
Yeah, I think we definitely see in the next few years, Game Pass is going to be on everything. I think it'll be a TV app. I think it'll be on the Switch. Like I'll be able to play it on my Samsung fridge. Like it'll be on one of those like blanket apps for everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, OD is interesting. I think Hideo's just so smart with how he talks that when he purposely doesn't say stuff, it's more interesting than what he's actually saying. And I'm like, just give me something. Just like,
I don't think it's too far away. Like, honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if it came out like late next year. They move pretty quick. Like, they did Death Stranding in 5.5 years while also kind of doing OD and the director's cut and all the other 5,000 things he does. They could talk about COD since this is usually the time they show something. Yep, that's when we talked about that earlier. Odd that, it's crazy that like Outer Worlds gets promoted as like, here's our big thing, even though COD would probably outsell it like 5-1 in the same like time period. But I'm excited. We haven't talked about that. Like, do we have any experiences with the first game? Do we care? Like, I never really connected, but I do want to go back, especially with Game Pass. I do want to play it like the month before it comes out. But what do you? It's their thing. It's literally over here behind Wicked back there. What do you guys?
I never got around to it.
Yeah. I've been told that now it's like really good, and that this is a game that you need to go back and play. Like I think it was on my Light No Fire video. I had comments telling me because I mentioned Outer Worlds and never playing it, and people were like shocked. I was shocked that people played it. I didn't even think, obviously it's getting a sequel, so it's probably good. Hopefully.
Yeah. I bought it physically, I think from Amazon. I think I traded it in, and I wouldn't do that nowadays, but because I just didn't connect, and I still got to play Avowed, by the way, more than what I have played.
Oh, forgot about that.
Ooh, yeah. The BioShock announcement,
my
Black
log.
Flag remake, those are fantastic ones. I keep forgetting about this BioShock thing. I think Summer Game Fest, honestly, is kind of up that alley. But if you announced a BioShock 1 remake at the Xbox event, that would be freaking unreal, to be honest with you. I'm just not even going to think about the next BioShock. Black Flag too. That's a really good. There has to be some sort of Ubisoft
I think
influence
that makes,
somewhere. So that's
that makes insanely good sense since Assassin's Creed is just living on Game Pass now. Like I think it just
those are honestly really like Persona, BioShock, Black Flag. Like these are all maybe a little under the radar stuff that's happening. In the next couple of weeks. I don't think 007 is going to be all that great. Game is long overdue, and if you follow some inside news, IO has some enormous rotation of people. I don't. I feel like they proved with me Hitman. Like I'll believe in them until they give me a chance, not to believe in them. I think they nailed Hitman though.
Same. I enjoy the Hitman games. I don't have any reason to doubt you unless you give me one.
Yeah. Indiana Jones. Now, there's DLC to Indy, isn't there? Oh, and isn't it supposed to come? Yeah, there is. There's gonna be DLC for Indy, and it hasn't come out yet, right? Yeah. So that's probably one that I didn't even think about. So before we get the sequel, we need that. Yeah, because I think you get it if you buy the deluxe or ultimate edition. But it's not out. Yeah. So that's a good one.
Do you guys think that? I know we're kind of shifting through different ones, but for Perfect Dark, I don't think we've really touched it that much. That one. I know that last year we got like that first gameplay look. Do you guys think we're getting like another look? Maybe release date? I think that's a little far, but
I think as far as a release date, it's a little far. But I would kind of say that for a lot of Xbox titles right now, they seem to be putting more quality and time into their approach to development. So I would say we probably get something more of what we got more than what we have last year, but I would be shocked if we had a release date.
Yeah. Perfect Dark, I feel like, is their fall of next year game, right? Like I think Fable and then Gears somewhere like now, and then Perfect Dark. And I'm probably missing maybe Clockwork Revolution or something else. Or State of Decay if God is out there. So I don't know, but I feel like it's just too far, to give a date. But I loved what we like. I was not really into it when they announced it. I think didn't they call it the quadruple A thing too? They were the second one to do it. But last year, like that game looks freaking awesome. Like that's the Deus Ex game that I've been waiting for.
Yes.
So I would love that. That's a good call back there. Parker said, Sway, you should make your own YouTube channel. I think he's got experience. We've been doing this for like 3 years, so
we'll get it. We'll get it out of you.
We'll get there eventually. I'll try to get the time I got now.
I'm going to do a Summer Game Fest video. If I can stream like next Thursday, maybe we can do a stream next Thursday, but I will be live next Friday. Wrong one. I think fall is going to be pretty far away. Everyone's going to be playing on their smart TVs pretty soon. Yeah, we're very close. Oh, do you think they'll announce a price increase of Game Pass in the show? There probably is an increase coming, but that would be very silly to say that at their show, right?
In this economy?
In this economy, it's definitely possible, but you're not going to go to your show and say, all right, we're going to raise it $10.
I mean, I just realized the other day that Nintendo they came out with this whole new expansion, and I finally looked through it the other day, and I'm like, wait a minute, this Animal Crossing pass and this Mario Kart 8 like deluxe pack was in the original benefits if you had the regular Switch. Yeah. I'm like, you took that away to add it to the expansion? So I wouldn't put it past them. I don't think they're going to do that there. I think they're going to pull a Nintendo and say like, hey, we're announcing this stuff. And then if you go to our page, we're going to announce all the stuff we didn't want you to see. From the showcase. I think that's what they would do if they were going to.
They could announce bringing the prices all back to what they were 2 months. Because remember, they're the only ones. They put out that whole freaking spreadsheet. And they said, okay, here's the new prices for everything. And that was probably because then the tariffs like paused, right? Yep. So that was like a really bad, like they got out ahead of it. And then it was like, well, you maybe should have like held on a second. They could do that. They could say, hey, we're bringing all our prices back down. All right, let's see. Flight Sim and Halo PS5 date. See, there's always the chance of like Flight Sim's a good and Halo, like bringing the Master Chief collection over, right? Like that's something that might have. I mean, the rumors I think kind of go back and forth on things like that, right? But Starfield. Starfield is always brought up. That's just a weird one because like the only reason you would say anything about Starfield is that it's coming to PlayStation and you're going to use time in your show to say, okay, we're going to bring up this game, but we're going to just put it on. We have nothing else to tell you other than it's on PlayStation.
I could see if they like maybe tune some things up and like add some sort of like complete edition, like what they're doing with Stellar Blade. There's a complete edition, but it's coming to PC. So while we're marketing the PC, we're also like giving more content technically to people that already have it. I can kind of see them doing a similar thing.
Yep. Gears of War movie. Oh man, I like again. If movies get taken up in their shows, Xbox I don't think has ever really done that. Summer Game Fest,
An Assassin's Creed 2 movie.
Oh, Jesus.
Whatever that first one was.
Yeah, was that shown at a Jeff Keighley thing?
I don't even know. I think it was.
It was probably like very early on back in the day. Isn't there still an Assassin's Creed Netflix thing happening?
I hope so.
Oh dear.
I don't know.
Somebody's getting a call, Sway.
That's on me.
Someone wants to talk. Are you allowed to be here? Are we breaking an NDA?
Yeah.
Careful
it's actually Nintendo. They showed up at his door.
Yeah, I think Nintendo heard your Animal Crossing.
You have a lot of community members, and they're always just
yeah. They sent the ninjas to your house. Dude.
I do want more Kingdom Hearts, and I don't care where we get it. State of Decay 3. Did we talk specifically? I mean, we've brought it up a couple of times. Like, do you guys think we would see State of Decay? Like, if there's any game that really needs like a good 5 minutes, it's State of Decay 3. I think.
Yeah, I think that could be like the surprise last thing. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if it was like the final hurrah for the showcase. But I don't know. My gut is just saying that they might show it for like a couple seconds, but I don't know.
Yeah. Imagine they show the Splinter Cell remake. We did just get a little. Ubisoft is like pumping up they teased, I think, the Black Flag remake like last week. Now they're teasing Splinter Cell in some shape or form. It's like, come on, all right, you're teasing it. Like,
they must have had a hard investor call. They were like,
well, they always have hard investor calls.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, and they're not on the list for Summer Game Fest either. But I actually think a Black Flag thing makes a lot of sense to appear like in the next 2 weeks somewhere. So if we go through Summer Game Fest, like literally next Friday's show, and Ubisoft is not present, then I would like move it up to like 90% likely that one of the two is at the Xbox show, or like Prince of Persia, because that's coming out like February-ish.
No.
So
especially because I think didn't we get like the first gameplay glimpse for Shadows last year at the Xbox? So. I think.
I believe it was because that was the beginning of everything to come with the company.
Shadows.
yeah. That was the start of it. So
that was the start of it.
maybe they don't do it this year. Maybe
Shadows was on the list of last year that they showed. So there you go. That's Ubisoft influence there. Let's see. Once prices go up, they don't come down. I know. I'm just kidding. They won't. Right? Yeah. They do it quietly. Like, well, they could do a sale. I mean, eventually they'll do a sale and the prices will look kind of familiar to people and they'll say, shoot. I'm pretty surprised PlayStation did theirs, though, to be honest. Still trying to finish Expedition 33. Almost there. You got this. And you don't want to rush that final act. If you're at that final act, you want to take it all in. You know what? Yes, we didn't talk, and that was on my list. So what about the Transformers and the Spider-Mans? Like, is there a chance? Can we get it?
let's see. I'm looking at my Amazing Spider-Man 2 movie game up there. You guys can't see it, but that's what I'm praying to for it because I'm putting my eggs in the basket. I think it's been long enough with their partnership with Activision, especially with how down bad Transformers fans are right now. I will make 1,000 videos for Transformers because I think we need those games, and I'm gonna put my stock in at least a few, I think.
I'm gonna say that it is, and now that I'm thinking of Transformers, I'm gonna double down on something here, a wild prediction, and I have no confidence in this prediction. That new Snake Eye game. Maybe we see something more from it at Xbox. I can't think of where else it would show up at.
Yeah, especially because didn't they show like it wasn't any gameplay or anything, but they had like that image that was like an in-game image, right? And they showed like, and they were like, "Oh, we're still doing it." I think that game could be a sleeper hit just because it's obviously G.I. Joe is huge, but especially now with Transformers and everything.
And the movie the last Transformers movie hinted at a G.I. Joe crossover. So I would think like maybe that would be something, but I think that all of those can come over. I think this is if you're trying to wow somebody about the Xbox brand in the day and age where everybody's saying like, oh, Xbox is dead, they've given up on their console, and like you can think that we're going to drop all of these classics on Game Pass right now after this show is over. That would be, even if you had nothing to announce, that would still be something to be hyped about.
I pray the old Transformers game. I mean, those are the War and Fall ones are they're the two I always push. But it needs like I don't know, like how can you? I know like the source code. There was that whole arc of like where is the actual code for these games and stuff. But I think they still actually have it. And I don't know. You own them all. You're so into Game Pass. Do it.
Do it.
Yeah, I think it's about time. Honestly.
We did not talk about Resident Evil, but we can just for you if you want. Any thoughts on Resident Evil? No, I actually am gonna. I have a video that'll go up this weekend where I talk about Resident Evil 9. But you guys think there's a shot? I think more Summer Game Fest than here, but
I feel like that's something Capcom is gonna want to announce on their own. They like doing their own big announcements now. But if it was to happen this weekend, I feel like that's a Summer Games Fest thing for sure. I know when Street Fighter was out, they kind of pushed a lot of that on Summer Games Fest, but I believe it already came out before Summer Games Fest hit.
Yeah.
So they still brought a trailer, even though it was already out. So I like to think it was probably going to be Summer Games Fest. If not, then it's their own thing.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Capcom is too into their own stuff right now to kind of just give it to. I don't want to say give it to Xbox, but that's what it would be. So I think they're just going to do their own.
Yeah.
Wasn't the announcement of Devil May Cry 5 at Xbox Showcase? I'm pretty sure it was.
Somebody's got to stop you from that countdown. So
somebody has to.
So eventually, we need a new Devil May Cry, but sadly, I don't think that's going to happen for a while.
If it was, I felt like it would have happened around the launch. They would have announced something for the anime show.
The show,
nothing. Yeah. So heartbreak.
I don't
know. Let's see. Anything from Blade? We talked about that a little bit earlier. I think definitively no. Did you guys give like a definitive answer, or you want to?
I'm gonna say no, but I'm gonna hope for yes. But
there you go. You got a little. You got a sympathy yes there.
Yeah.
Snake Eyes game might be like 3 years away. THQ is another interesting one of like The Last Ronin or SpongeBob or Gothic. Any of those. They kind of do their own shows though, so we'll see about that one. 1 week till the show. Where are the leaks? Like I said, I think Persona 4 is like an outright, just like we have Yuri Lowenthal just saying it's real, right? So we have that. The Ubisoft games, I think, are getting pretty close. We know this one, 007. Remember, 007, Tomb Raider, or Wolf Among Us is going to be at Summer Game Fest. So there's been stuff, right? Maybe not too much, but there's been a couple things.
It does feel like this year has been a little tame on the leaks.
Yeah, he has not announced nearly. I think when we did stuff maybe last year or 2 years ago, and he was posting like every day for like
every
weeks.
day.
He's done nothing except for the Hideo on stage. It could be light, to be like. That's why I'm setting like two to 3 games at Summer Game Fest, and Xbox. Obviously, I think Xbox has way more potential. Summer Game Fest, I think factually will show more games, but it's for like a wider spread. Xbox, I think, is going to give us. Like us 3, kind of what we want. I think that's at the Xbox show,
Yeah.
Hoping for an extended look at Metal Gear at the Xbox show or PlayStation show. Yep, that's possible. Yeah, they've done both. I think they did a state of play trailer, and then last year they were at the Xbox show. So that could be anywhere. Turn around right now, maybe it's behind you. It's right there. A second trailer gameplay for Intergalactic. Oh, well, that's now we're moving towards Summer Game Fest versus that would be fun. That'd be very fun if that was at the Xbox event.
Yeah.
Street Fighter 6 was announced with Sony on their state of play. Capcom has a PlayStation thing. Like I think if PlayStation announces a state of play in June, I would not doubt Resident Evil is there. Honestly. It's a good thing we're not getting leaks that are going complete. And I feel like it helps expectations, Rocksteady's at work, right? What if they show up? Isn't what's the room? Isn't the game that the 2 founders moved to? Didn't Xbox give them? Yeah.
Yep, they have. I think Xbox is funding.
Yeah, I want to say that was the first word that came to mind when I was funding it, but I don't know if that's 100. But it sounds right. It definitely sounds right.
Yeah, I remember when I was tearing down and destroying Suicide Squad, like in my brain, that was something that I mentioned to myself. But
there's definitely an Xbox slant to that studio, and because then there's a rumor of PlayStation going after Rocksteady, which is odd. But yeah, that's a good one. That's one that you don't really see, and there's always those potentials. Like we didn't know of Mixtape. I mean, just looking back at Life is Strange Double Exposure didn't turn out to be the game of my dreams, but in a way, the announcement was a game of my dreams. Mixtape we didn't know about.
Wasn't Expedition 33?
Expedition 33 was literally shown last year for the very first time. There's 3 pretty big Dragon Age: The Veilguard, technically, right? There's 4 right there.
Dawnwalker game, like the vampire-like game that was announced.
That's the one from some CD Projekt Red people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was that like specifically under?
I don't think that had a slant. I think that was kind of open. Okay. Yeah, I thought about that actually when people were bringing that stuff up. I was thinking that's a good one, kind of like under the radar. I know people always ask me for like Reanimal, the one that's coming from the So there's some under the radar ones that I'm sure we'll get surprised with like 3 to 5, just like last year. Yeah. A game I always kind of think about that I really can't imagine. I think it actually would be borderline insulting is Hi-Fi Rush 2. I think about Hi-Fi Rush 2 a lot. And then I think there's no way, right? There's no way you can do that at the Xbox event.
Well, don't we? I think somebody mentioned it too on your post, Alex, but the Replaced, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That one is one I think that we can at least get a release date for, maybe, just because obviously it was delayed.
Yep, that's a good one. Sands of Time remake, or is that in hell? Not in hell. It's like I said, they said in their earnings call it's coming out before the end of March of next year. So within 9-ish months, we should be playing that game. Wow. I know some people might have more to say about Sands of Time than others, but we'll just Star Wars Eclipse. That's a good one. Can always pray. At least we can take Wonder Woman off of that list, right? When you bring up those old games, you don't even have to think about it anymore. Killer Instinct.
Yeah, my big one before this week was I had like an inkling that there would be news for the Black Panther EA game, and we got news.
We did get news. You called it.
I
Good
did
job.
call it, just not the news I wanted. Sadly.
I hope you don't ever say that for Wolf Among Us. That you.
Nope,
think is
I'm
gonna
never
be
even
news.
thinking about that one for you.
Yeah.
That one, that and Sly Cooper, don't even go in there.
No, well, technically that's dead, so they can't possibly hurt me any more than they already have. Wonder when Assassin's Creed or Ubisoft will show more of Hexay. That because you got Black Flag, and wasn't the rumor that the multiplayer is also supposed to launch this fall around the same time as so like you got at least 2 more Assassin's Creed games before Hexay. So yeah. We got to get Ubisoft's got to get going. Even though now it feels like they're kind of scared, right? So like, just kind of continue.
Especially
Gonna call it TT Games. Next game is Hogwarts Legacy Lego. That would be doubling down and not the dumbest way possible. Like that, honestly, is something. Brick Boy, thank you. 4 years. That's 4/10 of the time around my channel. Contraband. Who remembers that game?
Oh my!
There's a game for you. I forgot about Contraband, to be honest with you.
We're gonna do a quick Google.
I do remember. I remember Contraband. You don't remember Contraband?
I vaguely remember it.
That's the one from Just Cause. Just Cause. They're doing the Xbox exclusive. They showed it that one time.
Yeah.
It was like that aerial shot of like the desk or whatever, or like the files.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. That's wow.
That's a game. That certainly is a game.
I saw the comment and I was just like, oh, okay. I don't know what's going on.
That's a good one. I mean, I think there were rumors that something went wrong with that game. I'm pretty sure that was a thing. It's also been like 4 years, so something probably did go wrong with it.
Too, with the whole Steam thing that I mentioned at the start, I think, because I just pulled up the Avalanche Studios link for the game, and it says exclusive, so but it says to the series consoles as well as Steam and PC. So maybe with the rumors of Steam getting integrated, that could be kind of like a tie-in. But
yeah. I don't know anything about Broken Sword. Does anybody here fill in the gaps of Broken? Man, you found 3 ignorant Broken Sword fans. But now I'll write it down. And I will research. Far Cry 7. Ubisoft, ironically, has actually quite a bit to show, and they should probably do their own show at this point. 100 stars, a good chance of showing up. They've been working on that game for at least 2 years now. Deca Police is always a game I go to, but that's not really Xbox. Horizon 3. Now we're going. Again, I think PlayStation should maybe announce some stuff at the Xbox event. Anyone think Summer Game Fest will have both Tomb Raider and 007? I'm just putting my money on one of those 3 being at Summer Game Fest, and I'm not going to rely on... And I mean, I guess like if Tomb Raider is at Summer Game Fest, is there a shot 007 is at the Xbox show? That's possible. But I'm not going to say it's like super likely.
Yeah. Tomb Raider's
on Xbox announcement. That's the one. That's
it. Yep. That'll be the one more. We have one more
thing. We're reviving it. What's the game? Oh, I forget it. What's the game that died that then the director wanted to work with Phil to bring it back? It's like one word, maybe. It's like a Monster Hunter-esque type game, right?
Oh my God.
It's that game that got canceled, and then he wanted to bring, and then the director said, like, we'll just talk to Phil and we could try to get it back. It's a Japanese game. Anybody in the chat?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I can see the logo. I can see the image. It's like a robotic, like
it was almost like a Horizon looking.
Yeah, it's like Horizon Monster Hunter type thing. Yeah. I forget. That would be a good one, whatever that game is. Not that we would but that would be a good one. Lord of the Rings MMO from Amazon, too early or possible. Maybe one day, but I feel like just let them do Tomb Raider first, okay? Scalebound, that's it.
Oh,
that's it. I knew it. Is there anything to show of Firebreak or Max Payne remake and what event? Firebreak comes out, I think, on the 17th, so that could appear at one of them just as like a launch trailer. And then, see, I think Max Payne is closer than other people. I've seen some tweets of like people thinking that's like 2027. I really think that's like next year. I truly believe that, but that's just me.
Yeah, I saw someone say that Half-Life 3 would come before then, and I was like,
And you know what though? Half-Life 3 might actually come, so that's something. All right, gentlemen, I think we've gone. What have we gone? 59 minutes. Do we have any? Just give me like your pitch. What do you want to see? How do you want this show to go? Closing thoughts, all that jazz.
I just want a good. I'm not expecting anything per se great, but I just want a solid string of like announcements that don't like kind of dip off towards the end, just a consistent pace. I'm expecting Gears. I would like to see some Halo, but I'm not going to expect it. But I feel like in some shape or form it'll be there. Maybe not like a new one, but maybe like we talked about earlier, the announcement of an updated Master Chief collection that is coming to other platforms. And just seeing a lot of just more footage of things that's already announced. I think that they have enough that has been previously announced that they can just show even more of to coast through, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. I think that last year's show was so good that I don't want to think that this one will be on the same level. So I'm expecting this to be a good show, not a great show. And I think that Gears is going to be there for sure. I agree with the Halo point a lot. I'm getting like my gut is telling me Halo. And so we saw what happened with Black Panther. So we're not going to say that, but I think that will be there. And my big one, again, I think if Mixtape doesn't get in a release date or at least another trailer, I'm going to sell my Series X because I want that game really bad. But
very good. Well, make sure you guys follow these two. Wicked's got the YouTube channel. It's in the description. Sway's got the Twitter. Great guys. I mean, this is the first time we brought all three of us together. So this was super, super fun. And I'm sure there'll be, possibilities and opportunities to do it again, Gamescom and other things. But I'll be live next Friday. I don't really have any other channel announcements besides that. Thank you to a ton for being here. This was a lot of fun.
Of course.
I always enjoy being on.
There we go. We got the group. Thank you all for watching live. Thank you all for watching afterwards. And we hope to see you all on the next one. Very